Welcome to 10 Minutes with Tony Scott. I'm Tony Scott, and I appreciate you tuning into today's show. Today's show is brought to you by Gentry Academy. On today's show, we will have Winnie Brodt and Megan Pizon from OS Hockey. Winnie is a former Miss Hockey, University of Minnesota Golden Gopher and U.S. national team member, and Megan is a former St. Cloud State Husky and a member of Winnie's staff for the past 8 years. Today, we will talk about their new role at Gentry Academy. Before we get into the interview with Winnie and Megan, let's talk a little hockey. Last weekend was crazy. Let's start talking about some of the associations that did well. Both Orono and St. Paul are sending their Bantam A, Pee Wee A, and Pee Wee B teams to state. St. Paul will be going for the repeat at both Bantam and Pee Wee A. I believe both will have a great chance to win. Jefferson is sending both teams, Pee Wee and Bantam AA, to state. The only such association to pull it off this year. The Bantams won 4 straight on the loser side to advance, and the Pee Wee scored a late goal in regulation to tie Wayzata, and then Grant Ellings got the game-winning goal early in the first overtime. Several other associations came very close. Prior Lake won one play-in game on Sunday and then lost at the other in Bantams. Players that had standout weekends, Carson Stokes from Prior Lakes had 58 saves in a loss to Chaska Chan Saturday. That same Stormhawks team got 5 goals from Bobby Brink in their first round game Friday. Brock Burleson from Tartan Pee Wee A had 2 hat tricks this weekend for the Titans, who were headed to state after they swept the East region. Evan Snell, who was on our show a couple weeks ago from Gentry Academy, is going to state with the Titans. St. Cloud State Pee Wee AA has a superhero line, I call them. You have to see these kids play. The line consists of 3 dynamic players. Nate Warner is Batman. He's big and fast and has a great shot. Luke Johnson is Robin, not the biggest kid, but has the great hands and vision. These two complement each other really well, and then they have Gabby Rude, who is Catwoman. She makes her presence felt on every shift. These 3 Huskies move the puck well, know where each other is at all times in the ice, and yes, they rack up a lot of points. Speaking of the South region, a new name on the Minneapolis team has surfaced. This is a team that already has Will Smendahl, Joe Miller, Gavin Best, and Mackie Zabinski. His name is Will Mortensen. He's the type of player that seems to skate faster when he has the puck than when he doesn't. He has great vision and hands and always seems to be around the net scoring goals. Some high school coach is going to be very lucky when he lands in his lap. Today, we are lucky to have Winnie Brodt and Megan Pizon with us to talk about their role at Gentry Academy. Here's that interview now. We're joined with Winnie Brodt and Megan Pizon from OS Hockey. OS, is, if you don't know, is probably the most premier girls hockey program here in Minnesota. Winnie's the founder, and she's got probably one of the best coaches out there, Megan Pizon, to help her out on a day-to-day basis. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being in the studio.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to have pioneers in girls hockey here with us. Winnie, obviously a Miss Hockey, played for the Gophers. Megan played for St. Cloud State, had her hockey background in Eden Prairie. Both played boys hockey growing up, as well as some girls hockey as well, and obviously on to women's hockey collegiately. Talk a little bit about girls hockey, where it was when you were a kid to where it is now today, and what a great opportunity now being with Gentry Academy here, you involved at Gentry Academy. Talk about that opportunity for kids.
When I started hockey, it's funny because I started skating when I was 18 months, played hockey when I was 4, and I had to play with the boys because there was no girls hockey at the time. And
let's say that there was no girls hockey at the time, all right?
And I'm not
Either
that
you're
old.
really old
I know.
or it's a really young sport.
It's still a really young sport, and my mom and dad put me into hockey because they wanted me to have the opportunity to play hockey because it's a great sport, and that's why I played it. There was no real, colleges. There was no WCHA women's. There was no Olympics at the time, and so when I graduated from college, I was like, well, I want to stay involved in hockey, and I want to give these girls great opportunities to keep, to play. And so I kind of just started some stuff with my niece, Hannah, who's now at St. Cloud, and like Elise Steckline, who's at the University of Minnesota, and Hannah Brand, who's at the University of Minnesota. And these girls were probably 9 years old.
And now they're playing
And now they're playing big time, and Elise Steckline's an Olympian, so it's pretty neat. But I got into it because the girls, when I first started, didn't have the best ice times. They didn't have the best coaching, and I thought if I could help, some kids, that'd be pretty awesome.
And then to elevate the game.
And elevate the game.
It definitely has elevated.
Yep, and so at Gentry, when Tammy came to me and showed me about her program in the school, I thought, wow, and the boys that are benefiting from it, and I'm very big on giving girls the same opportunities as boys. And it's one of those programs where it's not just about on ice, it's also about the off ice, and the education piece is a big thing. And my role is to just kind of give an opportunity to girls that, if they want to get better at their game, and I think it's great that they could do it during the school hours so that they can play other sports at night or, during the summer and whatever, but they're still getting better.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about your philosophy as coach, and we've gotten hers. Let's talk about you. When you get kids out on the ice, tell me what it's all about for you, how you're giving back and helping these kids grow.
I just like to have fun with the girls. Especially working with Winnie, she kind of runs practice, and I'm the fun cop.
She's the bad cop. You're the bad cop.
Yeah, pretty much. But
that's not what I hear. I hear like Pizon's here. She's going to work us today. So
Pizon's here. We get to have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, it comes down to just remembering the girls' names. The more they have fun, the more they feel important, the more they're going to enjoy the game and really grow and stick with it. So just about making the kids feel important.
You guys both played boys hockey. Talk about what it was like. Because we're going to have a little co-ed experience for the girls coming to Gentry, and it's going to probably look a lot like when you guys played squirts and peewees. Tell us a little bit about that. Either one of you talk about that.
I think it's great to have the girls play with the boys a little bit, because they can learn a lot from the boys as far as just watching hockey, trying new things, being creative. Because when you coach girls, they're so easy to coach, as coaching them.
Absolutely.
And they listen to every word you say.
They listen.
And they do that. And boys, they listen, but it's they want to try things, which is awesome too. I mean, it's just different things, and I think the girls could really benefit from that. And then the boys are just, obviously, because it's a gender thing, they're just they're strong and they're fast and they're really intense. And I think that's what I learned at a young age, and I think that's where you learn those things. You don't learn them when you're 15, 16 years old. You learn them when you're much younger.
Right. Megan, talk a little bit about when you played in Eden Prairie playing with boys. How it help you grow your game into a collegiate athlete?
Well, playing with boys, you're pushed every day. Not being the best kid on the ice. I never made an A team like she did. I was always kind of that B1, B2 player, but then. I had a decision to make going into Bantams. Was I going to play Bantams U15s? I ended up playing U15s, and it was unbelievable because those girls were good, but playing with the boys, I didn't have to worry about getting hit, so I could kind of do whatever I wanted.
Right.
And B, I just learned to score a lot of goals, and I love to score goals. So,
yeah.
Both of them attributed to me playing college hockey, and I probably wouldn't have gotten to where I was without playing boys hockey.
And that's where it's also important where Gentry, it's great because then the girls also play just with the girls.
Yeah, they're going to have girls' ice, they're going to have co-ed ice, they're going to have co-ed classrooms.
Yep, and co-ed classrooms, which is great. But I think when it's just girls, it's the off ice in the locker room and the conversations and the friendships and all that stuff. That's a big piece. But also, what Megan was saying, when you play the girls' game, you get to do things. You get to touch the puck a lot more. Because when you're playing boys, you're probably not going to.
Hogs, aren't they?
Yeah, well,
puck hogs.
And it's just. It's just the way it is,
Right.
And I probably ended up playing defense because I was the kid that wanted to skate backwards, and I could skate backwards because I was a figure skater. So,
right.
Put Winnie, she's, the defender, right?
Yeah.
Which I love defense, so. But then it's also, the only way you learn how to dominate is to dominate.
Right.
And so with playing the girls, I think that's where it's very important for girls just to play with girls. And the girls' game is so good now that they can do that. But I think from a skill set, it's just fun to integrate the boys and girls where they can, stick handle together and shoot and do some drills and stuff.
Speaking of stick
but
handling,
as far as game situations, it's important for the girls to.
Speaking of stick handling, they'll get plenty of stick handling at Gentry Academy with Sean and Pizon.
I know, maybe my hands will get better too.
Yeah, maybe. You never
Come out
know.
of retirement.
So there's going to be 3 open houses coming up. They're shadow days. They're going to be March 19th, April 21st, and May 27th. Winnie and Megan will be there to meet future prospective girls who are interested in attending Gentry Academy. To find out more information, go to gentryacademy.com for more. You can also see a button on the YHH website on the right-hand tab to learn more about getting information on Gentry Academy. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
The show today. Thanks
We're looking
for coming
forward to it.
Thanks, Winnie and Megan, for joining us in today's show. It was great to meet both of you. Tweet of the week. This week's tweet of the week comes from Tonka Squirt A. This tweeter has been a great follow all season long. The tweet reads, @CCHA Squirt A. Nothing like driving all the way to Fargo to play a team from 10 miles away. See you at 2 p.m. Yes, it does suck to play a district opponent in any invitational tournament. In this case, though, this was not a first-round game. Featured now prospects. I know this is going to start sounding like a broken record, but Casey Middlesetter was at it again. He scored 2 goals in the section final to send EP to state. The second one was in overtime. He had 11 overtime winners as Bantam last year. Looks like he's up to the same old tricks in high school. Nice job, Casey. A quick side note, Casey's little brother Johnny also got into the act last weekend and had a game-winning goal in overtime himself to beat Andover in the first round of regions. Speaking of sophomores with game-winning goals to lead their team to state, Brady Tatro scored a game-winning goal to lead Bemidji to the state last week, the Lumberjacks' first trip to St. Paul since the George Palava days in 1986. Now switching gears to the freshmen, but staying on the topic of game winners. Now prospect Garrett Worth from Duluth East got the game-winning goal in overtime to lift the Hounds to state last weekend. We tweeted afterwards, "We first saw Garrett in 2012 playing Pee Wee Bees for the Hounds at a tournament in Detroit Lakes. Garrett had some crazy numbers that weekend playing Pee Wee Bees." Now 2 more freshmen. Eden Prairie's Ryan Lesko had 2 goals and 4 assists in St. Cloud for the Eagles, and Centennial's Lucas McGregor had 3 goals and 7 assists in 3 games for the Cougars. That kid is a bona fide star. Now to the 8th graders. Ben Brinkman doesn't look like an 8th grader, and he for sure doesn't play like one. Last weekend, the defenseman had 3 goals and 2 assists in 3 games for the Hornets as they made it to state. Wyzetta's Caden Bolson had 4 goals in 4 games for the Trojans as they are also headed to state. Boom Roasted. This week's Boom Roasted comes from a fan who texted me a while back at Regions this weekend while in St. Cloud. By all accounts from both sides, the winners and losers, the officiating wasn't the greatest. But keep in mind, a lot is on the line in Regions, so both parents and coaches are very sensitive. Fans, please remember, even the NHL refs make mistakes. Does the missed offsides in Colorado ring a bell with any of you Wild fans? This text came from a guy whose team was winning, writes, "We are up 4-2. Officiating still horrible." Boom roasted. Thumbs up. On the flip side, the crew from St. Cloud and District 5 who ran the event were pros. Their presentation of lineups, public address, and scoring really makes the St. Cloud Regional blast to be a part of every year. We've been 2 out of the last 3 years. We hope it's there every year. Also, a huge thumbs up to the Hockey Zone for sponsoring the Player Game Awards this weekend. We gave out 16 gift cards from their shop, and in return, they helped with a lot of players in St. Cloud that weekend, both before and after store hours, to get them what they needed. Thanks to you guys. Thanks for tuning in this week to the show. Looking forward to the state tournament in 10 days. Until then, have a nice day.